Welcome to the BizNation podcast, proudly brought to you by Zinc Business Solutions, your home for micro and small business support. If you're looking for support in your business, join us on Facebook at Micro and Small Business Support Group. Here is your host, Kerry Zarb, to bring you interviews, hints and tips to help get you set in your business. We hope you enjoy today's episode.
On today's episode, we're chatting with Joe Cimino, who has flipped his career from tie to Toolbelt. After years of managing his real estate business, he has become everyone's favourite handyman and project renovator. So welcome to the show, Joe.
Thanks, Kerry. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. So, Joe, my first question for you is, it's quite an interesting story that you've got for us today, and I want to have a bit of fun with it and obviously, let the listeners know of your business journey and how that's all unvolved. So the first question is your years of experience in the real estate game. Just give us a quick summary of that journey and that episode.
Yeah, look, Kerry, I actually started real estate at a very young age because my father was always an investor in property, in property, I should say. And so at a very young age, I was sort of thrown into property and not that I have any regrets with it, by the way, but it started there, as I said, at a very young age. So I watched my father that sort of bought and sold property, and that was always an interest that was in my life. So I left school, finished my, in those days it was known as HSC, finished HSC, and I wasn't too sure what I was going to do in life. So I thought, well, look, temporarily what I'll do is I'll go and get a job in the bank because it's people tell me that bank work is secure work. Ironically, I applied with what used to be the State Bank of Victoria, applied for a job with them, and I got a job, and I was sort of introduced to, I was employed in the valuers department of the bank. So that's where my journey started because I took such an interest. I started doing the valuers course, and then about 4 years later, I decided that look, it was time for me to go into the real world, so to speak. So I got a job in real estate. Started off in property management. I did that for a couple of years, and then from there I moved into sales. So I got to understand the business very well. And by the age of 24, 25, I actually set up my own business, my first business, which I set up in the area that I was born and bred. That was in Clayton. And I ran the business there, and that was, like everything, it was a battle at first. But then, it was just, it sort of went on from there. So since then, I've had a number of offices in various areas. And then my last venture was when I came to the city, and a lot of people said to me at the time, what are you doing? What are you doing going into the city? So it was the best thing I ever did. So I set up an office in town, and basically we were there. Well, I started the office back in 88, 88 I think it was. Sorry, what am I talking about? In 2008 I started, and that started there with only sort of 4 walls and a phone, and I was hoping that the phone would ring, but sort of 12 years later, we've got a successful business in the city. So yeah, so that was my journey in real estate. I loved every minute of it, by the way. So from day one, I mean, there's real estate in general is a hard industry, and you have your good times and you have your bad times, but you have a lot more good times than what you do bad times. So, which I, as I said, I enjoyed immensely.
So, Joe, just diving into the real estate business area of your life for a moment, you would have had staff. Can you tell us about how you managed that area of the business with staff, and how, that perhaps it was challenging, or some key points, anything that you can share with the listeners?
Yeah, look, I've had a number of staff in my time as a business owner in real estate. And I learned very early that one of the biggest issues was training staff and then retaining staff was the biggest challenge, right? But again, that came back to one thing, and that came back to culture that you create in your business or in your office or whatever it may be. So I really focused on the culture And that actually got people not only just to stay because they enjoyed the culture that the business or the office was offering, but it also got people to knock on our door to join our company, because through our staff, that's how we actually got a lot of people to come to our office, because of that, for that reason. But sure, look, there's a lot of challenges when it comes to staff. And I had a couple of businesses where we had close to 60 staff members.
Wow.
One of the big things was every morning waking up and to find out and see if there were any text messages of who wasn't coming in that day. So the bigger the team, sometimes are the bigger the challenges. But as far as challenges go, was, as I said, the biggest challenge was to retain your people, because at the end of the day, any business, you're only as good as your people. So if you've got good people, you've really got to go to great lengths to make sure that you retain those people. But I will stay if you create a great culture. And I think that that's what we had in our business. We've always, my focus has always been about the culture, because the rest of it would look after itself,
Yeah, spot on. And I think, you've definitely hit the nail on the head there, and not to, pardon the fun for the episode, but definitely you're right. And having that family, I imagine I could just picture you having a family feel to your business with your staff members, and they would become part of your family.
It was. And I mean, look, as you know, up until I was in the business, it was a family business. I mean, myself, my wife, and my two sons were in the business. So, I mean, the directorships were family. So the staff felt as if they were part of their family. We feel that we've got probably there's 2 or 3 members of the staff there at the moment that have no other family apart from us. From overseas, and their parents or siblings are all overseas, so we're it. And on numerous times where I've had people in my office and giving me deepful and meaningfuls about whatever it may be. So because their father or mother may be overseas, so they sort of did relate to myself and Sandra, my wife, who was also in the business. So and it's important to actually have that interaction with your staff. The other thing was that we one of the things that I always believed in, I had an open office, philosophy at my office, where anyone could come into my office. They didn't have to, sort of knock on the door before they walked in or any of that. They could walk in and say, look, I've got an issue or whatever it may be. So the other thing too is a lot of people talk culture, but you can understand what culture you want and make sure that you focus all your efforts. Have your team building sessions and have those nights where you have, just a social gathering and making staff feel comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And happy that they're part of your team. And, I've never ever said that so-and-so works for me. No, so-and-so works with me, right? So, and that's so important.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And so, Joe, just to kind of take another direction now, what brought you to this decision to suddenly change this career direction? Like you've really, turned things on their head and
I have. Yeah. Look, Gary, I've always been interested in playing with big boys' toys, right? So I've always had fun playing with tools and enjoying that side of it. So I've always dabbled in bits and pieces, always, in the sense of renovating, and I've renovated a number of properties in my time, and being in the industry, I thought I'd take advantage of it. So, and I used to do a lot of the hands-on work. I didn't just sort of employ contractors to paint or whatever. I tried to do it myself, although time was sometimes limited. But I used to, when I did it, I enjoyed it. For me, it was therapy, right? So I always made a commitment that by the age of 55, I would be phasing out of real estate. I've spent 35 years of my life devoted to the industry, and I can tell you categorically I've loved every minute of the 35 years that I've been in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, the industry has its good and bad points, but for me it's been a lot of good, and I've enjoyed every minute I've been in. And to the point where obviously, my sons both saw the positives, and now they've taken over the business, and I'm so proud of that as well. But what made the decision was quite easy, because I knew that if I ever got out of real estate, what would I do? I'm not going to sit at home for a start, because I've got a philosophy about that. The fish rots are there first. So if you stop using it, you tend to sort of everything else shuts down with it. So I was one that wanted to do something that was very different, and that was to do some physical work, which has been, for me personally, it's been great, because I feel much better. I've lost a bit of weight, and I'm feeling that I'm a bit more mobile. So again, as you're getting older, sometimes you need to oil the joints, and I think that this is a good way of doing it. I must say, when you got the title, when you mentioned what the title was going to be, from tie to Toolbelt, that was quite funny, because I actually stopped and thought about that. Now, I wore a tie from when I was in year 7, which was, when I went to school, it was known as Form 1. But from year 7 right through till when I was in real estate, I always wore a tie. And actually, people say to me, "Oh, you probably sleep in your suit and tie." And I do enjoy wearing a suit and tie. Actual fact, if anything I miss in that job, and that is wearing a suit. I do like wearing a suit. But the transition for me was simple. I miss real estate, but I still wanted to be in a business where I had interaction with people, because at the end of the day, real estate's not about real estate. Real estate's about people.
Yeah.
You're working in a people's business. So I still wanted that interaction with people, and I find that what I'm doing today, excuse me, what I'm doing today, I still have that interaction with people, and I love every minute of it. Again, so yeah. Excuse me. So as I said, the transition was quite simple. There have been days where I've been tempted to wear a suit when I go to work, but it wouldn't be a good look. It wouldn't be a good look. I do miss it, but I do enjoy putting a tool belt on as well. So
yeah,
quite good.
I have to share just quickly, when I thought of you and thought of you coming on the podcast, and that little brainwave of the title came to me straight away, and I thought it just sounded so classic and so Joe, like so. It just made perfect sense. It matches you as a person as well as the transition. So yeah.
It's so true, and it's quite funny, because I'm be fussy when I'm getting dressed, whether it's a suit or a shirt or whatever. Even putting on my work gear every morning, it's got to be right, it's got to be ironed and all that. And my wife Sandra she says to me, she goes, "You just won't get over that, do you?" I said, "No, I've got to look neat, and I've got to look,
Are you the cleanest tradie that walks into Bunnings, do you think?
I have been accused of being, the one that sort of, because I've actually been asked if I actually get a pair of new pants every week, so no, I just like to make sure that I do look clean. I still think that, again, people that when you go into people's home, you need to be presentable. Regardless, doesn't matter whether you're a street sweeper or whatever. You still got to be presentable. Now, you may get dirty while you're there working, but when you walk in the morning, you've got to look presentable. So, yes, I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to that. It doesn't matter whether you're selling real estate or you're doing what I'm doing now. Presentation is key to everything. So,
and I'm pretty confident to say your wife Sandra probably prefers you in the suit and tie. It might have been easier on the cleaning aspect, or
no, actually on the contrary. No, on the contrary, there, Kerry. She enjoys the fact that she doesn't have to iron, 15 shirts a week and so forth. So the work pants and the t-shirts can be thrown in a washing machine, and 9 times out of 10, the t-shirt can go straight on, and the pants might need a quick iron. But no, she actually loves the idea of what I'm doing at the moment, because I'm not having to worry about getting my suits dry cleaned every week, and so yeah.
Yeah, that's a bonus as well. And I think the other thing that resonates in what you just said is that she's probably happy that you're happy in what you're doing.
Yeah. Look, she's, and again, I mean, there are times where, this what I do now is stressful as well. And, sometimes you have your bad days as well. So, but no, look, what we're finding is that we're actually, since I've moved from the real estate side of things to what I'm doing now, is we're actually sitting down every night and having dinner together.
Yeah.
Before, she'd sort of be having dinner at 6:30, and if I wasn't home, mine be in the oven. So we very rarely sit down and have a meal together, only if we were going to go out for dinner or whatever it may be. But not, if we're working late, I was working late and whatever. Whereas with what I do now, I beat her home. I actually go where she does. So yes, but no. Look, there's a lot of benefits compared to, and again, I work every Saturday for 35 years. I've worked every Saturday. Whereas now, I have the occasional Saturday off, which is, again, it's just amazing, which is good.
Yeah, good. And Joe, tell us what has been the hardest part in this transition period, going from, the tie to the tool belt. What's been the hardest part of starting your tradie business?
Yeah, well, the hardest part is having a plan, and to really sort of not know much about sort of what needs to happen as far as getting yourself out there and make people aware of what you do. And, so it's like any business when you're first starting out. So I very quickly put on my, starting a real estate office cap on. And I thought back to the times where when I was setting up a business as to what did I do, so and the marketing side of it and all those sort of things, it's all difficult, very, very difficult for someone who hasn't got any experience in that side of it, that's starting a business from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
It can be challenging. So I actually just stopped and thought about it, and I thought, well, okay, what did I do as a real estate agent, right? When I was setting up an office, when I set up the office in town, I can tell you categorically, the first month I sat there in front of the screen, looking at a computer all day, and twiddled my thumbs and hoped that the phone would ring. And then a light bulb situation happened where it just popped up. Hang on, unless people know that what I'm doing, how's a phone going to ring? So, again, you put that into practice in whatever you do. Right? And the same goes with, with my business now, that, you're out there letting people know. Now, whether it be via email or you let them know by direct mail or whatever, but you've got to let people know that you're in business, what you do, the services you offer, because as the old saying goes, you can never sell a secret.
Yeah. Yeah, spot on. And do you find on your side it's that human interaction? Because like you said, we're in the business of dealing with people. So a lot of business in trades, as far as I'm aware, comes from direct referrals.
Yes.
Is that what you're finding?
Yeah, and it is because what you do is, it's again no different to the real estate side of it. Your best line of business is the referral business. So if someone's referring you, well, 9 times out of 10 you've got the job. Now, I went from sort of changing the odd tap washer and fixing the little lock and little things like that to now doing basically full improvements. Full paints, floor coverings, bathroom, kitchens, all of those things. So something small has gradually now got to being projects rather than just repairs. So, and that's probably something I'm really enjoying, the project management side of it, which is great because it's about organising and being organised and about organising and having a timeline and having, a flow chart of what comes next and understanding all of those side of things, which, again, it's probably no different to marketing a property, but what you're actually doing now is you're actually physically creating something, which, and again, I enjoy all of that. So, look, and it is. And again, it's about one of the things that I used to always mention this to my staff when I had in real estate was talk to your clients.
Yeah.
Talk to people, right? See, as time's gone on, a lot of people have done away with the phone and have reverted to emails. The biggest mistake anyone can do in business If you're not talking to people, you are not going to get the business, because emails, people get lots of them every day.
Oh, yeah.
And the other problem with emails is that people don't understand, sometimes can misunderstand, I should say, the tone of that email.
Yeah.
Right? So if we just go back to the basics and saying, well, okay, the email is there for me to confirm my conversation I've just had with you on the phone, right? I talk to people, because you know what? No matter who it is, people still want to be spoken to, especially if you're going to be taking their money to do whatever you're doing, right? They want to know that what the process is, and you've got to explain it to them. Right? Yeah. I find that just by picking up the phone and ringing people, and I've had this comment already by a number of people that we've done some bigger projects for. They say, I can't believe the amount of phone calls I've had from you. Although, Joe, sometimes you don't respond to my emails. Okay, but I speak to you probably once or twice a day.
Yeah.
So people still like the idea of being spoken to.
Absolutely. I can't agree more with that. And I think it's definitely still the in thing, you know, like a lot of people say, oh, social media, and it's definitely a happening place, and websites and being online and being available. You know, there's things like chatbots and stuff. I had a previous episode on that are all the happening things at the moment. But I think when you're in that marketing space online, to build that know, like, and trust factor that makes people want to do business with us takes so much more effort than just having the conversation. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I find that the conversation, people feel a bit more comfortable. And then when they're actually, we talk about referral, they're referring you to somebody else, they'll tell them, oh, well, Joe's kept me informed all the way. So, you know, we actually, you know, he went through the whole colour selection. He went through the selection of the floor covering, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, because the other thing too is that it's easy to sort of say, oh, look, just tick the boxes of which one you want, send them an email, tick the boxes, that's fine. But you're there also to advise them correctly.
Yeah.
So, you know, and if I can just give anyone any advice in business, it doesn't matter what business you're in, whether you're a doctor or you're a whatever, talk to your clients.
Yeah.
Talk to your clients, because by doing so, you're actually, that's the best form of marketing you can do.
Yeah. And something else you mentioned a moment ago was about this project work and how you compared it to the real estate agent and selling a property. And, you know, you've got a set system that you stick to, but it probably changes quite a lot, because if you go to one house and they want a bathroom redone compared to the house you'd done previously, it's very different. The scope of works is completely different. So there's a new challenge with every project for you to manage. Yeah.
So the works, there's a new challenge. The process of how you go about and discussing with the client, so nothing changes.
Yeah.
Nothing really changes, because, you know, those people are no different to the last project I've done. Yeah. Because these people are now going to be really excited about getting a new bathroom or a new kitchen or new carpets or whatever it may be that they're doing. They're really excited about it. And it's the same when it comes to selling and buying a property, no different. The vendors get excited because they're going to move to something bigger and better. The buyers are getting excited because it could be a chance to be their first home. Yeah. So everyone's different and everyone's got different tastes and so forth. But the actual emotions and the empathy and all of those sort of things don't change. Don't change at all. And that's why I'm saying that communication is the key, and that's a key in any business, right? So, and I think that, but you're right. The challenging side of it, and the creativity, which is that every case is a different one. Yeah. And that's a lot of enjoyment. That really is, because you'll sit back once you've done. We just recently did a beautiful bathroom for somebody. And after it was finished, I actually looked at it and I went, wow, I was involved in that. And there's a real good feeling about it, right? And it's, again, you can relate this to any business. Yeah. I felt like that when I used to sell the odd property as well, where, you know, you would accomplish something that was great for the vendor, and you'd see the big smile on the vendor's face and the big smile on the buyer's. There's nothing better. There's nothing better. And that's the same with what I'm doing now. When you finish a project and they're really happy and they thank you and they've got a big smile on their face, oh, how good's that?
Yeah.
So, but I always go back to that communication side of it. Make sure you communicate.
100%. Yep. And Joe, can you tell us what has been the biggest difference between the two businesses, between the two industries, from your experience, from an operating perspective?
Well, the difference is that with real estate, and probably comes back to the probably to the dollar side of it somewhat. But with real estate, you're dealing with a very big ticket item.
Yeah.
With what I do, I could be doing a job that's worth $200 1 minute, and then might be doing a job that might be $20,000, right? But again, like real estate, you don't treat them any different.
Yeah.
Whether it's a $200 job or a $20,000 job, you don't treat them any different to the $200,000 apartment that we would sell, or the $2.5 million apartment that we would sell. You wouldn't treat people or treat those tasks, I suppose, any different.
Yeah.
So yeah, the dollar tag to it is different. But yeah, I really, there's, apart from the fact that real estate is more, as I said, suit, tie. What I do now is more, sort of, the tradie gear. I drive a nice sedan car in real estate. Now I've got a ute.
Yeah.
But really, there's not much difference. Again, we're still in the people business.
Yeah.
And nothing changes, right? You're still dealing with people. And that's number one rule in both sides of the business, whether it be real estate or what I'm doing now. It's people.
Yeah.
Right? So, the real estate one was probably, a little bit more, a lot less physical.
Yep.
Whereas now it's, I get home and I'm physically drained.
Yeah.
With real estate, I was mentally drained.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're the differences. Now, I'll answer probably a question that you may have for me already, but I do actually prefer the physical training because you don't tend to lose too much sleep.
Yeah.
As to opposed to the mental training. So, but really at the end of the day, Kerry, there's not much difference because we're still dealing with people.
Yeah. But you're getting home, like you say, you're probably more on tradie time rather than on extended business owner time, let's be honest. And it's probably...
And again, sorry.
No, that's all right. It's probably easier to, like you say, to switch off of a night time, because it's not that it's not mentally, there's plenty going on in the mind, I'm sure, on these projects, but perhaps the stress level on the mind has changed.
Well, it has, although there are days where, I'm starting a lot earlier than what I used to. I mean, I'm sort of out of bed by 5:30 these days, whereas, before it'd probably be about 7-ish.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of I'm on my way to wherever I'm going by 6:30. I'm on my way. And I am coming home a little bit earlier, but I'm not necessarily the person that sort of comes at 3 o'clock or 3:30 and saying, okay, I'm going home.
No.
Knock off for the day. One thing that I am very passionate about is that when you finish work, it doesn't matter whether the project is, 2-month project or whatever, at the end of the day, clean up our mess.
Yeah.
So if we've used drop saws or if we use whatever, sweep up, clean up, because a clean site's a healthy site, right? Yeah. So, I'm not one to sort of look at the clock or at the watch and say, oh, hang on, it's 3 o'clock, I better start cleaning or I better go home or, it's knock off time. Because, again, as I keep saying to some of the trades that work with me, don't make time your enemy, so don't say that, oh, look, I got here at 7, I've got to knock off at 3. No, it doesn't work that way, right? And knock off when we think that it's right to knock off. Now, I don't expect anyone to be working like I used to in real estate because you just don't. But let's not, let's not keep looking at the clock and knock off time,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you're right. I am getting home a lot earlier, and And it's nice to be sitting down with my wife every night and having dinner. It really is, right? So I'm actually catching the sort of 7 o'clock current affair show every night and whatever. So, which I didn't know that those things existed when I was in real estate.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, Joe, I ask all of my guests that come on the show. It's been an interesting year, as we all know. There's a lot of, tough things going on for small business. And, out there in the world, people have lost jobs, businesses have closed doors. Obviously, here in Victoria, we're starting to breathe again. We're starting to get a bit of life back into, even the mindset is improving, I think, in the Victorians at the moment. But what is a positive takeaway from you for COVID? What's something that you've experienced in a positive manner?
I believe that it's this time, the last 6 months, if the people that have been very interested into working, it's really been also, it's opened up the doors to more opportunities.
Yep.
Because I understand that a lot of people haven't been able to work, and I understand that because there's been restrictions and so forth. But the opportunity was there to do the background work, whether it be in your business or as an employer. So I'd been approached by a couple of real estate agents that in my experience and so forth. And they asked the question, okay, we can't show properties, we can't really go out and do an appraisal on a property. What should we be doing? It goes back to what I was saying before, that this is a great opportunity for you to get on the phones and start talking to people.
Yeah.
Great opportunity to do canvassing or prospecting, whatever term you want to use, right? So we've all got databases of some sort, right? And talk to those people on your database. Ring them up. Find out how they're doing. Have they been affected by this period of time? Reintroduce yourself to these people, because some people have forgotten about you. Right? So it's been a time, and it will be a time still with plenty of opportunities for people in general, right? Yeah. So I think that if you turn the negatives into positives, right? You won't even realise that we've been through this pandemic to a certain degree, because I've done that, and I've sort of spent quite a bit of time letting people know, and people that I know, and so, oh, by the way, I've had a change of career. It's great. I'm loving every minute of it. So if you know anyone that needs a lock changed or whatever you need done, or I'm happy to do all of that. It's been, and again, I've had called backs where, Joe, I've got a place such and such, and the tenant's gone, and I need a few things done. Would you be able to go and have a look at them? Yeah, no problem. Let's go and have a look. So but don't expect for it just to come to you if you haven't done the back end work. So it's been really a great time for people that have been housebound and saying, well, how can I come out of this as a better business or a better person or whatever? Great opportunity. Sit there on the phone. Let's start talking to people. Right? Reintroduce yourself.
And I think you're right there, because I think there's been a lot more human interaction during COVID, and for some time to come, there still will be, where people, we need to connect, and people want to connect, so picking up the phone or receiving a phone call from a business that you dealt with, 6, 12, even 18 months ago, to receive their call when things were really tough, when Victoria was in, particularly Melbourne was in hard lockdown. I personally welcomed those calls, like even as a busy business owner, I welcomed those calls and appreciated why they were calling. And I think it also brought this element of, we all became a little bit more grateful and a little bit maybe less selfish as well. So I think it's been a great time to reset all of those human values.
Yes. Yeah. And they're so important, Kerry, so important. Anthony, my son, who left school and worked with me from day one, said to me, Dad, he said, what do we do in these sort of times, right? I said, well, the first thing you want to do is go and find all those properties that were withdrawn because we didn't sell them for whatever reason it may be, and start talking to them, because some of those people now have actually got time and will probably enjoy a phone call from you, because it gives us someone that actually, my phone's ringing, or, I've got actually can talk to someone because I've been locked up inside for 100 and how many days I've been locked up. So I said, go and speak to those people and just remind them that you're still there. And maybe it's a good time to revisit whether they should be putting them property back on the market, and, just talk about the market, talk about it. And he said that he was on the phone at times. He had conversations with people that went for an hour and a half.
Wow.
Right? Now, if those people do decide to put it back on the market for whatever reason, I'm sure that they're going to call Anthony.
Yeah.
Right? Or they'll remember Anthony, right? Yeah. Whereas most people in this time that we've had the last 4, 5, 6 months, how long it's been, most people have gone, I don't know whether I should ring anyone. Maybe they won't. It's a great time to do it, right? And what it does too, though, it actually forces you to keep thinking, right? It's a bit like getting up every morning, right, and getting dressed to go to work.
Yep.
Right? Now, I'm sure that over the last 5 or 6 months, there have been a lot of people that would get up every morning and still be in their pajamas all day. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Or, put on a shirt if they've got a Zoom meeting or whatever it may be. But no. As I used to say to the boys all the time, and even their staff, I'd say, no, get up every morning, get dressed as if you're going to the office. Because I'll tell you now, if you actually dress and then get to in front of your computer or the phones or whatever, you're going to be more productive.
Yeah.
If you think that you're already in work mode.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than being in your pajamas or whatever it may be, the old, again, I think it's a bit. You feel the way you're dressed, right? To a certain degree. So,
definitely.
If you're going to get dressed in your sloppy Sundays, well, then you're not going to get much done.
Sloppy Sunday, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's those things. So going back to your question of positives, the positives are that if you've done background work, don't worry. I think in months to come, it'll come back. That will all come back to you.
Yeah.
A good opportunity to reconnect with people, and what better than ringing them and find out how they are healthy? Just do a health check on them.
Yeah, brilliant, exactly. Thanks, Joe. That's exactly. I agree. I completely agree with you, and that's fantastic. So I've got a few places that you can be found. So I'm going to pop those links in the show notes. You've got a website and obviously your details personally, because I know you and you're happy to connect with people, obviously. So
definitely.
I'll pop all that in the show notes for the listeners. And thanks so much for being on the show. I think it's been great. It's been an awesome discussion and such a great topic, from the tie to the tool belt. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Kerry. It's been a real pleasure. And look, I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I hope that, people that listen to it, they do get something out of it. I'm no marketing guru, but as far as coming to business and understanding business, and probably more so understanding people, I've had plenty of experience in that side of it, and I know that there's all types of different sort of people, if you want to call it that, but more so attitudes or whatever. So you sometimes need to adapt to your clients are. They're all important things, but I just hope that whoever does listen gets something out of it. And if anybody wants to talk to me about it, Kerry, at all, or talk to me about anything,
right?
Not necessarily just work related, but it could be if somebody says, look, can you give me, only too happy to have a chat with anyone at all.
Wonderful.
I do like speaking, as you probably like. I like talking, as you probably gathered. So,
which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Thanks so much.
Thank you. No worries. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for the BizNation podcast, proudly brought to you by Zinc Business Solutions, your home for micro and small business support. You can find us at zincbusinesssolutions.com.au. Tune into future episodes for more interviews, hints and tips to help get you set in your business. Until next time, stay safe, stay well.